Yeah, so Isha wanted to cover two topics today. One was explain statistical claims, that was one, and second one was so exponential equation components. Yep, good. I still remember things. That's my life. All right. So, and she did not bother to say hello to you guys, which is good. She should not be disturbing the class. All right. So Sivasar, you heard that, right? There are two topics that we want to cover. First is explaining statistical claims, and second one is components of exponential equation. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say everybody is awake, yeah, okay. So when I say explaining a statistical claim, what comes to our mind? Keep aside the math part. I'm just saying, as a normal person, when you hear about statistical claim, what does it mean? We all know what is statistics. When you have some stats to refer to, some data to refer to, that's what is statistics. So statistical claim, meaning any data that is represented or any statistics that is thrown at us, what does it claim? How relevant it is? How meaningful it is? Okay? Yeah? So that's what we're going to talk about. So now, let's look at some real time scenarios, and then we'll try relating that with what we need to know mathematically. So let's say, if I want to know, okay, for the kids of your age, what is that kids like? Okay, let's say if I have to watch a movie, I have a 10-year-old, I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old, and I have my wife. I'll not tell you how old she is, but yeah. So there are three generations we're talking about essentially, and every generation likes certain things, doesn't like certain things. My kids are big time into K-drama, K-pop, BTS, all that. I don't like it. So, and I'm pretty sure I'm not an outlier. People of my generation have certain type of liking. People of your generation have certain type of liking based on the generation you're part of. So, let's say if you have to find out that if I have to put a movie theater in Dallas or DFW area, what kind of movie if we put that will make it a successful venture? You would certainly not want to put by default a Tamil movie throughout the year, or a Telugu movie throughout the year, or a Hindi movie throughout the year, or English movie throughout the year either. Or let's say, okay, I know Korean, my kids like Korean, can I go ahead and put Korean movie throughout the year? No. So what happens is, behind the scene, when people start a business, they do a lot of analysis of the data, and they validate the correctness of the data, which will help them make the right decision. So like when we talked about bar chart, graph chart, all those statistics or representation of data, right? That was meant with the purpose to make sure that whatever data we have at hand, we can read that in an intuitive way and make conclusive decision out of it. So now that data was prepared. Let's say we talk about population of a country. Every 10 years, the countries do their population counting. But imagine how big that event is. If you have to count population of India, we're talking about essentially 140 million people, 1.4 billion people actually. Yeah. You have to literally deploy a big army of people to do that exercise. So instead of doing that, there's a little bit of science added to it, or math added to it. Saying, okay, we'll not do comprehensive one-to-one counting of things, we'll take samples. So after taking you guys all around, I'm coming back to the agenda. That whenever we do analysis of data, whenever we try doing some kind of survey, we don't do it with the entire mass. We take samples. Now, how correct is that sample is what matters when it comes to making a decision. if you pick the right sample. Let's say if I, if you have to find out if I'm a good teacher at all, okay, and I do sampling with only my students who are coming to my classes every day. Either they are forced, or maybe some of my students will like, and they'll say, okay, yeah, you're a good teacher. But this sample of data might not be the right data. There is a bias here. So there are different types of bias that comes into play. You have to always make sure that the sample that you pick, that is diverse enough. And that ensures the correctness of the exercise. So what is sample? So we select samples, we pick sample to kind of mimic how it will be actually when you extrapolate that. Let's say if you're talking about 1 million people, you would not go to 1 million people and ask, hey, do you like rice in the afternoon, or you like any other flour? So you will say, okay, fine, let me go randomly pick 100 people, and that will give me a percentage split of people, and then I can extrapolate that to draw my conclusion. I'm not picking you asleep, right? Sure? Okay. So sampling is an exercise which is done to minimize the effort that is needed for collecting data, but with the intent that that sample is correct enough to give you the right view into what you're trying to find out. So, and what is the biggest enemy of sample? There is one word: bias. You cannot create bias. If I am trying to find out if I should cut the trees in Dallas, all the trees in Dallas, I would not do sampling only in my society where I know that okay, I have 10 good friends and they'll say yes, and I'll just go on a rampage to uproot all the trees. Yeah. So you have to avoid bias. Then you have to also look at what is under coverage or over coverage. Let's say if I had to do analysis of data to find out if sunlight is good for people, okay, and I only pick up a smaller segment, let's say only kids up to 16 years, okay, then that data may not be correct, because they are elderly people, they are even much younger kids, they are people of my age group, yeah, I mean middle-aged people, yeah. So you have to make sure that there is a sufficient coverage, there is sufficient representation of all types of data that you are wanting to look at. So no bias, no under or over coverage. That is what makes your sample correct. Yeah. So in this chapter, whenever you come across any question, there will be a lot of questions. Say, okay, fine. There's a scenario where somebody has to do some sampling, corrected data. What is the problem with this data? Think of a scenario quickly. Any scenario that you guys think of. Srivatsav, I'm saying that think of a scenario where you have to collect data, and I will frame that into a question. You guys think, I'm giving you guys 2 minutes, I'll get my water bottle. Pradeep, you also think? Okay. Any scenario where you have to collect data. Okay, let me make it up. So, people drinking more than 2 gallons of water every day. Let's say, city of Bikini, or somebody who is in charge of DFW area. They have to figure out how big a tank they have to put for making sure there is enough drinking water for people in this locality. So they will know how many people are living here, residing here, and then they have to find out what is the average number of gallons of water consumed by people. Okay? How much water every person is consuming, okay? And let's say that exercise was given to Dhanusri and Isha. Okay? what you guys did, Dhanushri picked up 50 people randomly. Okay? She just roamed around, went to malls, wherever she could come across people. She just kept on asking, how many gallons of water you consume every day, and kept noting it down. Isha did the same thing. He said, okay, fine. I will go to schools. I'll go to 3 schools. Talk to teachers and the students, collect the information. Now, there is a problem with this data. Tell me what is the problem. Say that again?
It's only in school.
Only in school. What is problem with this data? Again, I'm not saying problem with what you did, I'm saying what is the problem with this data that you have collected.
It's at the mall.
You went to the mall and you kind of caught hold of people. And then you got the information. Collect from 50 people, you collected from another 50 people. What is the problem? Think about it. Nobody is going to take you head on. It's okay. What is your view?
It only accounts to like a certain amount of people, like a certain age range.
Okay, that's you're getting closer. Okay, so that's a good observation as well. Shivatsam, the example that I gave, that here I gave that task to 2 of the kids in the class. Said, okay, one person went to the school, collected data for how much of water every person consumes every day. She went to the school, the other person went to the malls to collect the information from 50 people. So I have sample of 100, I can extrapolate that to find out the information that I'm looking for. But then there's a problem. Okay, first problem, like Athar said, we are only looking at a certain set of people. Now when you went to the school, you only picked up the students. That's probably in the age range of maybe 13 to 17 or 18. When you went to the mall, you collected information from people who are there. So again, in the mall when you see, mostly you will see younger crowd. Yeah, people from the age range of maybe 25 to 45, 50, 55. Yeah. So there is a problem with the data here. There is a good percentage of the population which is above 60 who is not moving much. And then there is a very, very significant percentage of the population that is below 10, whom we are not even bothering to ask. Yeah? We don't collect information from them. So basically, regardless of how big your sample is, there is probably 30 to 40% of the type of population you are not even counting. So, and that's a very, very regular, very possible scenario that happens. Okay? So, when you guys look at or come across a question with statistical claims, this is one type of problem that you'll come across. You'll be given a situation saying, okay, this is the data collected, this is the purpose of the data, this is what is done. What is wrong here? Which of the statements is correct? Which makes sense with respect to what is happening with the data? So you have to just think about it. You have to look at 2-3 aspects. One is there any bias? If I ask for how good I look to my mom and my dad, for them I'm a superstar. Yeah? They will think that I'm the most handsome person on this earth. But when I get a more realistic view from people who don't know me, who have no affinity, a special liking for me, that is when I'll get the real answer of the assessment. So that same thing has to happen with the data also. You have to collect data without a bias and make sure that your coverage is sufficient. If these 2 aspects are taken care, you are good. Okay? Now, there are 3 types of data collection exercise, or three ways to do that sampling. So, what are those? Have you guys heard about something called, we talked enough about sampling or sample, whatever you call it. Second is called observation. And third is called experiment. There are 3 methods that we use for doing statistical analysis or statistical claim. Yeah? Sivasa, are you able to see this, the board properly?
Not clearly, but I guess I can say the words.
Yeah, there are three methods. I'm just going to make it little bold for you. One is called sampling, that we were talking about. Second method is called observation. And third is called experiment. Again, don't look at these as mathematical state. Look at this as English. Sampling is what we have been talking about. I have been blabbering about for the last 20 minutes. Yeah? 20 minutes? Okay, yeah. So, we all know that you don't look at the entire mass to collect the information and then derive your conclusion. What you do rather is take a smaller sample, collect the information about that, and then extrapolate that to derive your conclusion for the larger scope that you are trying to do. Okay? That is one method. Second one is called observation. What do you mean by observation? What do we mean by observation? Simple English, okay? Don't overburden yourself by thinking too much about math.
A vision.
Yeah?
A vision of something, like basically looking at something.
Yeah.
Looking.
Yeah. That is one way of looking at it. Any other point of view?
Noticing things.
Louder.
Noticing things.
Noticing something, okay? Think. I'm making you guys think, okay? It's okay. I mean, it's okay to go wrong. It's fine. Give it a try.
Like watching something happen without interfering with it, seeing if there's like a behavior pattern or something.
Behavior pattern. That is another word I caught when he was talking about it. A third, anything you want to add? It's very simple. Observing something. When you observe, what do? You derive some interpretation from that, right? If I observe you guys in the class, what do I interpret? I'll say, okay, when I see you guys yawning, I'll think that, okay, either you are not interested or I'm making it boring for you guys. That's an interpretation that I'll draw from that. That's why I keep doing it again and again, just to make sure that I keep everybody engaged and you guys are not wasting your time. Yeah. So that's an interpretation I'm drawing, and then that helps me change my action. That is what is observation. Here in this context, when you look at observation, these are something that is relatable. Let's say if I'm tired, my eyes will close. These are relatable things. So when you see my eyes getting closed, you will assume that okay, his eyes are getting closed because he's probably tired or sleepy. So here in terms of observation, these are relatable things. So in mathematical terms, you'll say, okay, if my height increases, my weight will also increase. Okay, this is, so when you see height increasing with time, you will see, okay, you will refer that, okay, weight will also keep going up. So these are related. So when you look at observation, this simply means that whatever sample you have taken, let's say, now let's try marking the data now. So let's say you took 100 samples, okay, and now 100 you have to find out at what age men start balding. Okay. Now you took 100 samples, collected data for 100 samples, and then you found that kids or students up to 16, 18, they are fine. Atharv is fine, Pranit is fine. When the problem starts, when you cross 40, yeah, that is when you start losing hair. So you here age and amount of hair, these are relatable. That's part of your observation based on the sample. So when you do sampling, and from that sample you look at two different parameters and try relating them. Yeah, you will say that let's say you guys take a sample of your school kids data. Let's say out of 50 boys in the class, kids who are very good in sports, they have little less liking for, let's say, science. Could be a behavior, could be a pattern based on what data you are looking at, and then you will generalize that based on how you want to extrapolate that. Yeah. So that is part of observation. You don't do any full-blown exact data collection. You have a sample, you are looking at two different parameters and you are trying to relate them. That's part of observation. So whenever you come across any question which talks about observation, you will see that there are two parameters that you are comparing each other against. Okay. Again, in this chapter, in this topic, there is not much of maths. It's more to do with how you relate things. How do you kind of interpret based on one information, and what will be my derived information based on the first data or first information. So that is observation. We all have gone through COVID. So there also like the placebo or the actual vaccine, which one was working. That's a classic example. You saw that, okay, people who got placebo, 60% of them were recovering faster, or vice versa, whatever was the case. So net, when you talk about observation, you're looking at a smaller sample always, but then trying to relate one parameter against the other one. That's what is observation. Okay. Any questions so far? I know I keep talking, but yeah. No questions, no confusion, no doubt. Okay. All right. And experiment, I will not drag this one much. Experiment is pure play experiment. Meaning, do I have fever? I'll put a thermometer and find it out. There's no assumption, if you are looking pale, that might be reason for you having fever. No. It's go, look at the data, find it out. So if you look at the sequence, you take a sample, look at different parameters, you make observations, and if you want to strengthen your observation, you do experiment. Okay? So let's say if you have to find out that from this sample, right, 100 men, what age they start balding, and if you want to add one more parameter, when their teeth become wiggly, you'll pick 50 people of different age group and use whatever instruments you want to use to see how wiggly their teeth are for different age group. Kids of your group will have very strong, firm teeth. People of my age might be okay. Add 10 more years to it, you'll find more wiggly tooth. Yeah. So this experiment helps you confirm what is your observation. This is just an interpretation based on whatever data you have, sample you have, and if you have to form up something, that is when you do experiment. There are the three methods that is used for statistical analysis or statistical claim. So we talk about what are the three different methods. We talked about what is sampling and how to make right samples, avoid bias, avoid any under coverage or over coverage, and that's pretty much about it for this one. I would want you guys to do some sums. Let's see. We have chapter anyways in Khan Academy also, right? Unit 10, I believe. Yeah, it's unit 10. Unit
11.
Is it part of unit 10? Anyway, whichever it is. So I will send you guys the link for that one. Whatever you guys have, there is nothing that you have learned. We just talked. Based on the concepts we talked about, I would want you guys to do the sums, whatever we have in the unit test for this one, and see whatever we discussed was meaningful or not. If something is getting missed out, we'll try doing it. Okay? See what's up?
Yeah.
So far so good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now before I move on to the next topic for the day, again based on the assignment that I got from Isha today, I keep cracking daddy jokes, okay? Bear with me. I don't know whether your daddies crack those jokes or not. My kids keep saying that no, you have started cracking daddy jokes pretty much. Okay, so anyways, jokes apart, coming back to the serious topic. So Isha, you have sent me a couple of questions, 2 questions to solve. Yesterday, day before. Yeah. So I tried solving that in WhatsApp itself without using pen. No, I solved one using pen and paper actually. But were you able to understand what I did?
I can look into it.
You did not look into it. So just take a look at it. See if that is helping you kind of put your or wrap your heads together on that one. Okay. Did you guys see what was that question? What did I do? No. Okay. I would not say be very active on WhatsApp. No, that's not a good thing that I would recommend as a teacher. But maybe for 5 minutes, whenever you have an unproductive time window, just check once if there's some question that anybody has asked and if that is solved, if you want to solve it, kind of thing, okay? Just keep that as an exciting thing, okay? I mean, not saying that I would want you guys to be very active on WhatsApp. I would not recommend that, but at least this SAT group that we have, right? I want this to be a more fun group where you guys keep exchanging questions within this group, anything that you want to get solved, or you want to challenge each other also. It's okay. It's going to be fun. Okay. So I was in a doctor's place when I saw that message, and then I was very happy that okay, there's something that I can do because I was waiting. So I thought okay. Then I borrowed a piece of paper and then I was solving it there, and then I sent it to you guys. So same way, do that in a more playful way. Don't spend too much time on this one. But yeah, every day whenever you have a unproductive time window, 5-10 minutes, see if there's something that could be of use for you, or if you want to post something, okay, there's a question that I have solved, but I think this is an interesting one. Send it across, it's fine. Yeah? Yeah? Alright. So Isha and everybody, whoever has seen or not seen that one, let me know if that is explained okay or not. We will try solving it otherwise. Okay? Now, next one is components of exponential equation. Again, without thinking too much about maths, what does it mean to us? Components of exponential equation. So exponential equation, we'll keep it aside for now. Components. If I have, let's say if I have to look at what are the components I have in this garage, I have the boilers, I have the lawnmower, these things, right? These are the things that I have inside the garage or the classroom, whatever you call this one. So components is components, the parts of it. I would not say what are the body components, but yeah, these are like parts which is constituting that particular thing. Now, components of an exponential equation. Let's look at one equation first. Y equal to mx plus c. This is not an exponential equation. This is a linear equation. This is the y-intercept form. Whatever it is. Yeah. What are the components? This is one variable. This is one component. This is another variable, another component. This is a constant or the intercept, another component. This is another component. So you just break it down into pieces and those are your components. So when we look at an exponential equation, now what is an exponential equation in the first place? If you want to recall what is an exponent, this is an exponent. Yeah? I mean this is the exponent and this is my base. So this is the exponential form. If I say 5 to the power 8, this is an exponential form. This is my exponent, this is my base. So whenever you talk about exponential equation, it has 2 parts, exponential and equation. Meaning, it will be something in the form of equation first of all. So this is my equation, but there is no exponential. If I put like this makes it an exponential equation. Okay, so you have an equation, meaning you have something with the equal to sign, and then you have something written in the exponential form. Only catch is we deal with this. Okay, fine. If you go by definition, an exponential equation is something which is in the form of exponent, and one of the part of the exponent is a variable. That's the only difference. This is one of the examples of exponential equation, meaning you have it in the exponential form, and one of the exponents is a variable, meaning something could change. So if you say this is one example of an exponential equation, because it's in the exponential form, and one of the part of the exponent is a variable. That's all. So what are the components here? You have variables and you have exponent. One of the exponent in variable form. I mean, even if you have like this, that doesn't do any harm. That's fine. But then you have to have one which is unknown. One is your variable. Okay, that is by definition. Now here you'll have to deal with. You might be asked to solve something like let's have it. I'm just making it up. So basically, they'll say, okay, there are two exponential equations, solve them. So you have to find out the value of the variable. Whichever way it is, it will not be this complicated. I have probably overcomplicated this because I am using this variable as power of this, and this will make it overly complicated. You will not have to deal with this at least till you want to do PhD in maths, but not for SAT. But you'll have to deal with, if it says x to the power 5 equal to x to the power 2y minus 7, find out the value of y. So this is exponential equation. You have in the exponential form, and in the exponents you have one variable. That's the only condition. So how to solve it, you guys know it. Do I have to try solving it? No, right? It's easy, right? X to the power 5, x to the power 2y minus 7. So it means 5 equals to 2y minus 7. Right? Because the base is same, so we can consider these two are same. So 2y equals 7 plus 5 equals to 12, so y equals to 6. I mean, just an example. So what we can do is, see, here there's not much to explain because we are not solving the exponential equation with any additional method. Just that we are trying to understand what are the different components of exponential equation, and then if I have an exponential equation, if I have a couple of exponential equations, how do I solve them? There's one. Okay, so I will probably park it here. What we'll do is I'll send you guys the assignment for these two topics, and you guys will try solving it and send me the update on this one. And while solving it, it might so happen that there's a certain thing that is not clear. That is what will get me or make me aware of the fact that whatever is missing for these topics, we can cover that. Okay. Now, Srivatsa, are you with me so far?
Yeah.
So we talked about statistical claims. We talked about exponential components of exponential equations. I will send you guys the link for the unit test in Khan Academy so that you can do it and send me the video for this one. But that is not only with the purpose of doing assignment, it will also let me know that if there is something that is missed to be covered for completing these two topics. Now, since we have some time, let's do some playful act related to maths. So, if we have, let's say, one variable whose value we have to find, how many equations do we need? If I have one equation, one variable, we have to find the value for this guy. One equation is sufficient. Let's say somebody says and 2x squared plus y equal to 70. I'm just making it up on the fly, okay? If you have one equation to deal with or solve, one variable to be found, to find the value for, one equation is enough. If you have two variables and find out the value for that, how many equations do you need? You need two, at least two. Yeah? If somebody says solve it for x, y and z, would you be able to? I have given two equations here, Sivatsava, okay? First equation is 4x plus 3y minus z equal to 28. Second equation is 2x plus 17 equal to 5z. And I'm asking you guys to solve it for all the three variables. Find out the value of x, y and z.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys solve it? Okay, so that was a trick question. If anybody says that solve for three variables with two equations, say I would not listen to you. Don't agree to that question. You cannot solve it. If you have three variables to be found value for, you have to have three equations. If you have five variables to find the value for, you have to have five equations. So number of variables plus number of equations has to be the same. Okay? Otherwise, it is technically not possible. It is as good as constructing a triangle where side A plus side B is less than side C. Do you know what I am talking about? So if I have a triangle, if somebody says that construct a triangle where side A is 5 centimeter, side A is 5 centimeter, side B is 2 centimeter, and side 3 is 8 centimeter. Can you?
Wait, can you repeat the question for the
5 centimeter, one side of a triangle is 5 centimeter, second side of the triangle is 2 centimeter, and third side of the triangle is?
Oh, we have to find the third one?
Yep, no, you have to find the third one. I'm saying side A is 5, side B is 2, and side C is 8. Can you construct a triangle with these three?
No.
Why?
Because two sides have to be like bigger than the third side.
Exactly. You pick any two sides of a triangle, and sum of those two sides has to be bigger than the third side. So there are questions to be solved, there are questions not to be attempted to be solved. And you guys have to make that judgment very quickly based on what we know as a concept. Because when you go for SAT exam, you go for STAR exam, any exam, what is the most important thing? That is the time. If you end up spending your precious time for some questions which is not giving you that return, let's say you pick up a wrong question and you try solving this with finding out answer for three variables with the two equation, You might end up spending 15 minutes and then you realize, oh, this is not possible. So that 15 minutes is actually gone. So that is where your conceptual know-how of what you can do versus what you cannot do will actually help you save that time, and you can use that time for solving more sums. Yeah. So we will learn concepts in the class for sure. I want you guys to kind of do a lot of sums by yourself in a fun way. It should be like, okay, I learned something, let me share it with somebody. That is when it will continue with you. There is one chemical named potash alum. Okay? Do you guys know what is the formula for that? The chemical formula, potash alum. Anybody? I learned that formula while cheating actually. I was in 10th grade and I was one of the probably the best students in the class, but then we had a very fierce competition in our class. So that my friend, who was a very good friend of mine and a competitor too, he knew the formula for potassium and that came in the exam. I had not memorized that one. I was doing perfectly fine. Just when I was stuck with that question, I asked him, okay, do you know what is the formula? And he being nice, he told me that formula. And that was the semester, I mean, we used to have a 4 month, it was not semester, it was like term exams actually. 3 terms you will have. Because that potassium thing, I got the highest in my school overall. Because that we used to beat each other with 1 or 2 marks here and there, okay? And he told me that formula, that is K2SO4 Al2SO4 whole 3 24H2O. Okay. This formula he told me exactly 31 years ago, and I never studied this for myself. Just because he shared that with me in the examination hall, I still remember that. So what I'm telling is, when you exchange information with your friends, not the way I did, not the examination hall, but what I'm saying is, when you exchange information with your friends, when you discuss with your friends, you will see that stays with you much longer. Yeah. So make sure that whatever you learn, okay. I mean, I keep talking to my other one, Trisha, and she says that no, we don't share our score with anybody. We don't discuss about studies. I said, no, that's not right. You're not making good use of your friendship actually. You discuss, you share. If you both, let's say there are 3 students and 3 friends, and all of them go to UT Austin or any good college for that matter, nobody is losing, right? But if you keep it to yourself, you might end up, probably if you have to get, let's say, I mean, you have to get to A plus school, you might end up settling down with A. You might miss a plus here. Use your friends, help them, get help from them, exchange, and that will help you learn things very fast. And it'll, if you're not able to find a friend, it's okay. If you learn something, catch hold of your sibling and say, okay, let me explain this to you. Because when you explain something, that is when you realize whether you have understood that concept or not. Okay? So you guys do that at home, okay? That will help actually. So whatever you learn, it's okay, there's no harm, right? If both of you are getting benefit by each other, no harm. You also find some friend. I know you don't talk much, unlike me, but yeah, when you have friends, when you exchange information, it actually helps in a big way. Because I'm from a very, very, what do you call, remote background. I'm from a very small place. None of us had that exposure to IITs or big colleges. Just because we had very good friends, many of us ended up in premier institutes. So it actually helps. Okay. All right. So this was a parallel talk. But then, what are the things that we have learned today? We have learned about the exponents, components of exponential equation, and we learned about statistical claims, where we talked about what is a bias, what is a undercovered coverage or over coverage of data, what are different methods of collecting data, sampling, observation, and experiment, and what is the purpose of this. let's try solving the sums with this much of understanding and see if we are getting stuck anywhere. Okay. Now we have 10 more minutes. So let's use this time to figure out what we want to learn tomorrow. I'll always give Isha the preference. She would want to cover certain things. So whichever topic you want me to cover, you have to let me know. And only because she will have lesser time compared to all of you. He has a lot of time. He has a lot of time. You also have enough time. She also has a lot of time. Yeah. So that's why you are privileged. So think about it. You don't have to answer that right away. Once you settle down, think about it and let me know. Otherwise, I'll go with my flow. So that's what you call it. I'm not threatening you guys. I'm just letting you know that if you don't let me know what you want, I will do what I want. Yeah. Okay. So Srivatsa, Praneeth, and Atharv, you guys have enough time. I can promise you guys that everything that we have to cover, including Dhanushri, 4 of you guys have enough time. So we'll make sure that before the next school year gets over, meaning 2025 June, May, we'll cover each and every topic for SAT. We should be able to finish that much before that, and we'll do a lot of practice among us. I'll make it more fun. I will make you guys compete with each other, do a lot of sums, and it might so happen that towards last 2-3 months of the year, we'll end up doing a lot of fun activities. I mean, we'll try doing sums on the board. We'll challenge each other. We'll question each other. That way, you'll get more and more comfortable with what you're going to come across as part of your SAT. Okay. I wish Isha could have joined a few months before, but it's never too late. Yeah. Let's see how much we are able to do with the time. Okay. So we are total 13 units. We are doing right now unit 11. So we are randomly picking up a unit because that's a preference we had among us. But then let's see what all units we want to cover in next few months. When are you planning to go for your next? August. Okay. So we essentially have 2.5 months, maybe 3 months, close to 3 months. Maybe. Yeah. 24th August. That's what I got to know from Tisha also. Yeah. That's what I got to know from her today. 24th August. That essentially gives us close to 3 months. Let's see. 3 months should be a good time. Just that we'll have to go a little fast. And request to you, Isha, would be that apart from what we are covering in the class, whatever extra you want to learn, wherever you want to question yourself, see where you might want to revise something ahead of time. Keep finding out those and keep letting me know those. Okay. So that would be our go-to plan for next 2.5-3 months. And once you guys have your school started, that is when we'll start with the fresh this thing, and then we'll exclude the units that we have already covered, and then we'll start from beginning. Yeah. That brings us to the end of the class. See, what's the very question?
I guess so.
Okay. But I always feel little incomplete for kids who are online. Don't hesitate to ask me if there's something that you're not able to hear me. Okay.